Hi guys, so I came across HeroQuest about 7 months ago, and like any game that I kind of really get into, went a bit mad, as obviously there's loads of HeroQuest quest packs or expansion packs, and yeah, within about the first month of buying the original HeroQuest, I kind of bought all the quest packs. Yeah, went a little bit nuts. I say when I go into a game, I go all in. Even with every single last little expansion one, and even the little sort of, well, extra sets of just the miniatures. Yeah, went a bit mad. So obviously you might be aware, if you do play HeroQuest, there is a new expansion, and yeah, it's out now, available, well, all your local sort of stores, and it's this one, the Jungles of Delphrak. So I've seen quite a few people sort of doing the old unboxing, opening, and all the rest. Yeah, it looks really good. My thing is though, I'm not going to buy it because, well, I still have so many miniatures left to paint from the previous boxes, and I've not played half the quests yet. Although when I did see the people unboxing this video, there's one figure that took my interest straight away, and that's the big ape. I guess it's because, well, I like them big and chunky, kind of like myself really. So instead of buying the expansion just for the one miniature, I thought I'd have a go at, well, finding one or making one. So start off a good old Thingiverse as well. It's a good place to go to. It's all free, and yeah, a whole wide variety of stuff there. So typing in gorilla, having a good old nose around, couldn't really find anything that was, well, even remotely similar to the miniature in the actual board game. But then I did spot this gorilla, and as you can see, yeah, it's in parts, which I kind of thought, well, this is probably the nearest I'm going to get, because then I can have a go at trying to make the basic sort of pose, although he looks like he's doing a bit of break dancing in a few of those shots. But yeah, the fact that it comes in separate parts, I thought, well, this is my best option by far. So downloaded the bits, and obviously had a cunning plan that I would print out separate parts and then use this good old green stuff. Although, as you can see, yeah, it clearly is blue and yellow, but when you mix these two parts together, it becomes green, and yeah, hence the name green stuff. So I've done a few things with green stuff, and every time, if you watch some of my videos, every time I mention green stuff, I always say I love the idea of it, I want to do more with it, and then never do. So I have now gone out and bought more tools, although as you'll see later in this video, yeah, I only used one tool to do the sculpting because that's all I had. So dragged and dropped all the bits, and then yeah, resized them to try and get them roughly the size that I kind of think the Kong is, or the gorilla is. Don't know why I'm calling him Kong, or King Kong. And yeah, obviously the great thing here is I've gone through, picked out the bits that I think are kind of suitable. They will need obviously a bit of a mending. And then yeah, just a case of, well, as you can see, there's no supports already on these, so that's why I'm kind of angling them at about 45 degrees ish, and then yeah, gonna stick on some supports. So the eagle-eyed people out there might notice that I'm using a different printer for this. As you can see, this is quite a small build plate, and you'll see exactly what printer I'm using in just a second. But obviously it's big enough to have this guy at a nice reasonable size. Obviously, just before I did print them, I noticed I had two right arms. So the good thing is, though, you can just flip one in an instant with a button. So the new printer, yeah, I have mentioned it in a few previous videos, that I'll be getting the Frozen Sonic Mini 8K. So obviously I've been using the Frozen Sonic Mighty 8K. Absolutely love that printer. It's worked beautifully. But I did mention the Frozen. I would like to use one of their smaller ones, just to sort of see just how well that can perform, as obviously this is cheaper and takes up less room. And as you guys all know, yeah, I'm very short on space. But this guy, he fits nicely beside the Mighty 8K. So I've now got two lovely Frozen printers side by side and working perfectly. So whilst this is a much smaller looking printer, as you can see it next to its bigger brother here, I am still going to have the same issue with the lid, as in I can't get it on and off. Yeah, I've got obviously my printers on a little shelving sort of unit here, but yeah, the lid won't come off. So the cunning plan, what I did with the bigger one, I cut the lid in half to make it fit. So it looks like I'm going to be doing the exact same with the smaller one. And I know when I did this before, I didn't actually do any filming, I don't believe, and you guys wanted to see just exactly how I did cut this thing in half. So as you can see, put some masking tape round. This helps, obviously just makes it a lot neater cut. The drill bit, or the little slicer thing there, won't slip and slide, and obviously I can draw the line, well, that I need to now follow. And then it simply is using the sort of Dremel tool I've got here to slowly sort of, well, follow that line that I've done. I say I did go nice and slow because obviously otherwise the drill bit or the circular saw bit just sort of stops. It's like this drill thing I've got, it's relatively cheap. It does the job though. You just got to go sort of slow and steady. But yeah, slow and steady definitely wins the race. It didn't take too long to get all the way round. And there we go, got a nice decent cut. Obviously the edges are a little bit rough, so give them a little bit of a sand in. Making sure I literally just sand the edges, as I don't want to sand the obviously the acrylic or the rest of the unit, because it'll be a bit of a mess. So come across nicely. Yeah, the bits do fit back together really well, but just to make it a little bit neater and snugger, I've got this this little silicone edge rubber bit, and all this does, it just sort of sits over the edge, makes for a neater look. And yeah, when you put these two bits together, they sort of butt up a lot better. So there are no, well, there's no gaps, basically, is what I'm sort of trying to get to. And there we go, one lid now in two parts. So the back part I kind of put on, it doesn't move, it just sort of stays there. I'll literally cut this thing in half as well. So each part is nice and sturdy, but it means I can get to the build plate on and off, and yeah, I don't even knock that back bit. So there we go, guys. If you are stuck for space, yeah, I've now done this on 3 printers and never had any issues with obviously the smell coming out the side, because say the seal is nice and tight and secure. And yeah, this printer is now ready to use. So the little Sonic Mini 8K, let's just see, well, how good you are. And no surprises, yeah, I'm using the RPG resin from Frozen. I love this stuff. This is like the great combination of, well, perfect prints, high definition, but also flexibility, as yeah, you won't have miniatures that will break, especially little swords, pokey bits, all that kind of stuff won't break at all. They have a bit more flex to them, as well as these things coming off really easily when I come to, well, taking the supports off. So it's on a USB. Now we can just go and plug it in the machine. The only one problem that I do have, yeah, there's no plug at the front, so it does mean I've got to take the front off so I can get the plug in. Yeah, eventually I will get my Wi-Fi set up to be able to wirelessly print from these things, or I might just get like a little USB extension thing that I can have in the side, coming round to the front, really. Yeah, and then usual thing, push a few buttons, away she goes, and then sort of yeah, watch the magic and wonder of 3D printing in your own home. I say, I still love this. I've been 3D printing now for about 3.5 years, and I'm still impressed that you can set these off, because I really feel like a kid in a toy shop, that I can just get whatever I want, 3D print it, a few hours later, bish bash bosh, I've got it. And there we go, first print on this little machine. So with the settings, guys, I changed nothing. Yeah, I like to keep things simple, so whatever settings generally come with printers, I keep them. It's very rare I change them, unless I'm doing some sort of scenery bits and pieces, and then they don't need to be high quality, and yeah, I will change the layer height just for a quicker print, really. And there we go, yeah, monkey bits come out nice and fine. Obviously still full of resin, which is why I've got my gloves on still. These need to go in a little wash station, so they're cleaned in, well, IPA, 99.9% alcohol, I believe. And then once that's done, I then generally put them in some warm water to help give them a final clean and to remove the supports. But as you can see, yeah, all the supports have literally just peeled away without me, well, having to peel them away. And as you can see, yeah, these things are flexible. They would need to go in a curing station, so that would firm them up a bit more. But this is why I just love the RPG resin. It is just, yeah, it's perfect. It's flexible, but you still get really high quality definition in all the bits. But as you can see, yeah, the supports, they've just come off on their own. And then it's simply a case of just gluing the bits together. So I say, I've tried to get the bits to look most like the monkey, or gorilla. But yeah, there's a few bits I will need to change. And by changing them, yeah, I mean cutting them off. So obviously I will be using green stuff to, well, hide any errors and make it look more like the card that I've seen a picture of. But yeah, initially there are some bits that will need cutting off. So I am wearing a mask for this, guys, as obviously this stuff, yeah, it's not good for the lungs. And as you can see, there's quite a lot coming off. I think I forgot to get my vacuum cleaner, because generally I have that sort of there to just sort of take away all the dust. Because I must admit, I hate it when my desk gets dusty and messy. And there we go, that's one arm ready to glue back on. But with the other arm as well, it didn't look quite right. So even though I put it on, I then just pulled it off, just so I can make a little bit of a change to that as well. I didn't like the angle, so again, using the old Dremel tool there, just chopping a bit away, just so it would fit, well, how I want it to fit, really. And then on to the fun bit. I say, I really do want to do more stuff with green stuff, and I know, guys, if you watch a lot of my videos, I think I do pretty much say that in every single one. Because initially, must admit, I was thinking about even trying to make this whole thing using green stuff. But then I was kind of like, yeah, no. My skills definitely nowhere near that. So that's why it was easier to make or print off a gorilla that was the rough look, size, dimensions. But then just bulk him out where needed using, say, good old green stuff. So the only really sort of good bit of advice I can give about using green stuff, and that is whenever you do use it, make sure your tool is wet. Yeah, you heard it. Yeah, keep your tool nice and wet for this one, guys. So I've got my little cup of water, because obviously the main thing with this green stuff, it is incredibly sticky, which is great because obviously it means you can just put it onto something. Obviously once it's cured and hard, it ain't going to fall off, but it does mean it can be difficult and tricky to use if your tool isn't wet. Sorry, for some reason whenever I say making your tool wet, it's just giving me the giggles. I'm not trying to be rude, but yeah, it's just guys, I'm a simple man, simple needs. I laugh at the simplest of things. So yeah, tool's nice and wet, and then you can start to manipulate the green stuff and push it, poke it, drag it, add little scratch marks in. As I say, I've only got this one tool that I've had for many a years kicking around in my drawer, but I have now gone out and bought loads more. I've gone for cheap tools, to guys. Like anything I always say, unless you're a professional doing something and you're earning money from whatever, just start off with some basic tools, especially if it's something you're doing for the first time, or in my case, I've done it a few times, but never really enough for me to sort of, well, get any better yet. But yeah, so I've bought some nice cheap tools to use. As well, my plan going forward, I would love to make something out of green stuff or plasticine or whatever it is, but then scan it in and then 3D print that, because obviously I can make something a bit bigger to make it easier on me to sort of actually make whatever it is, scan it in, and then reduce the size down to the 32mm sort of HeroQuest, D&D, Warhammer, whatever it is I'm making. But yeah, scan it in and then 3D print it. So that's kind of my reasoning behind getting some more tools. I really do want to have a go at making more bits and pieces, or something I've done a couple of times, and that's get an orc but then manipulate and change them. I have made videos a long time ago where I've taken a few orcs and I've made a Batman and Robin orc, but I've made them the old style, sort of like 70s TV style look Batman and Robin. So yeah, look out for some more of them kind of things coming up. Again, guys, always let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to see me make or do. Let me know. I do read all the comments. Apologies, I don't always respond to all of them, but certainly do read them, especially ones where you are suggesting things for me to make or do, because yeah, I love trying out new things. And I say, the fact that I have now got a 3D scanner, yeah, I can scan whatever I make in and then 3D print it, which is just going to be so much fun. So yeah, back to the gorilla. As you can see, I've had to sort of make some bits bigger. One of them definitely his tummy. He's yeah, he's quite a big, chunky looking monkey. Here's the picture of how he obviously looks, or what I'm trying to duplicate. So definitely a much sort of rounder looking gorilla with some big chunky arms and some chunky legs. So I need to change them as well. So yeah, tool nice and wet. I can just sort of drag it around just to add a bit of texture to this guy. Kind of like fur stuff. That's the other thing I'm getting as well. Yeah, I forgot to mention, I am getting some new tools, or some cheap tools to use, but I'm also getting sort of textured, I don't know how to describe them really, textured little mats. So basically with the green stuff, you can put the green stuff onto these mats and you can make it look like, well, fur, chainmail, and yeah, other kind of bits and pieces. So say guys, yeah, I really am looking forward to making my own kind of creations out of green stuff. Well, maybe a bit of sort of kit bashing, or even just good old scratch bashing. Yeah, a bit of that, and then say scanning it in and printing it is just going to be so cool. So even with this sort of little simple tool and my simple knowledge, yeah, making things like fur isn't too difficult at all. It is just a case of kind of like manipulate the green stuff to where you want it to go, and then just kind of like drag it and cut it, and yeah, basically having fun. Again, that's why I'm really excited about doing this. The fact that I'll be able to make something, scan it, print it to the smallest size. I say, trying to make something really small out of green stuff, yeah, you need to be very skilled. And obviously, I'm not skilled at all. So making something bigger is going to be much easier. But yeah, I can't wait, guys. So as much as I love big muscles, yeah, in the picture, you can't really see his big muscle. All you can see is his big forearms. So again, using my little cheap Dremel tool here, just going to cut out the muscle there, and then replace it with some green stuff just to make his forearm look, well, a nice bit chunkier. Don't forget to check out the links down below, guys, to everything I'm kind of using here, especially the old Frozen 3D printers as well. So I've had quite a few from them now. I've had their really, really big ones. Now I've had a medium one, and now I'm using their small one. And I have to say, yeah, all 3 or 4 or 5, can't remember how many printers I've actually had now, all work beautifully. And the great thing I love about their printers, they kind of cover everyone's budget, as well as, say, the space required to hold one, operate one, and use one. Again, if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll always hear me saying I don't have any space. Because, guys, I don't have a studio, I don't have a workshop, I don't even have a spare room. I literally have a desk in my living room, which I'm sitting at right now. This is where I build things, make things, paint things, and do the voicing over. And then I've got, in the hallway, there's a little alcove, and that's where you'll have seen me have my little stand, as well as the awesome RPG resin, which is kind of my go-to resin next to each other when using. And again, that's why I've had to cut just because, as I say, it does give you the awesome definition, whatever you want to call it, as well as the flexibility in just whatever you print off. I can use sort of small short swords where they are pikey, pikey. Yeah, all links down below. Yeah, go check them out. Yeah, when you drop them in the old days, things would just break. So you didn't even have to drop them, just picking them up and holding them. Many a sword I've snapped off, whereas this stuff, yeah, it's got more flex to it. So yeah, you won't be breaking things nowadays. So it really is always nice to sort of try something different on this channel. Again, I've done a few sort of bits with green stuff, and every time I have, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed using it, because this stuff, obviously, it's like kind of like a firm plasticine if you've never sort of used it before. But give it sort of, I don't know, half hour to an hour, starts to firm up, and then yeah, after a good 5-6 hours, this stuff is rock hard, and can be sanded, drilled, cut, whatever you need, really. So, last couple of things to do on him. Yeah, I've got his little mighty weapon there. It doesn't quite fit in his hand at the moment. So, yeah, good old Dremel tool, pops out again. Different attachment on it, and I can just cut out a nice little groove, and voila. His weapon of choice fits in there perfectly. So, he's now pretty much ready to, well, to start getting painting. And obviously the painting on this dude going to be fairly simple. Again, I'm going to try and paint him exactly like how he looks on the card. So rather than doing priming in black, I've gone for a prime in brown. Doing a bit of dry brushing over the top, and then using the good old Green Stuff World dipping inks to sort of finish off with, really. So with the dipping inks, I don't actually have a grey as such. So I'm just going to mix a bit of the deep black and skull linen. And yeah, obviously that will give me, well, the grey that I kind of want. But I want to do a few bits of grey. That's going to be his hands and his sort of feet here, as well as doing a few parts on his face and on his tummy. Although you will see later on, yeah, like sometimes when I paint things, I look at them and think, nah, not quite happy with that. So I do change things. So yeah, he's starting off with a grey tummy, doesn't quite end up grey towards the end. So he pretty is mostly made up of one colour, and I've gone with the Elfwood brown dip all over. There are a few areas on top of his head that I will add a little bit of black into this brown, just so it's a darker brown for a few little areas here and there. But other than that, yeah, it pretty much is brown. A few little bits, obviously the green, good old green ghost dip. It's a nice, vibrant, strong green. As I'm kind of thinking his sort of pendant there, as well as his mighty weapon, are made from some sort of like emerald or something similar. Again, I don't have the actual game, so I can't really sort of vouch for what I'm saying. And I do waffle quite a lot as well anyway. But yeah, guys, let me know if it is like a green emerald, and if that does give him any special powers or boosts to his well, to his movement or the gameplay or even his damage. So it really didn't take too long at all to paint this this chap, and yeah, I'm loving how he's come out. I say the green stuff, absolutely awesome. You can't really tell where the green stuff sort of starts from the 3D print, or well, I hope you can't too much anyway. But yeah, love how he's coming out. I say, obviously, I did sort of say this is where I put a bit of black into the brown, just to sort of give some darker areas to the top. But like a lot of things, when I paint them, when I stop and have a little look, sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's not quite what I wanted. The grey, I think the grey just sticks out far too much. So the best way to blend everything in is I'm literally going to go over everything now, apart from the green, with a bit of a wash. So this will help tie things in. It will make the brown, well, hopefully look browner, because it's going to pool in all the nooks and crannies with the wash, leave them nice and dark. The grey, yeah, the grey is going to have a bit of a brown tint to it, but hopefully it won't then be as dark as the other brown bits. And yeah, much better. Definitely prefer the look of this. As I say, sometimes you have an idea, or I have a small idea of what I'm doing, and as I'm painting, yeah, things quite often change. It's like, yeah, this isn't quite how I liked it. So yeah, putting him off, the little sticky double-sided tape, Juby, what's it? And then yeah, stick him on the base. Excuse the state of my fingers, I was painting something else at the time, that's why they are so messy. And there we go, there's my gorilla, and yeah, he's not too dissimilar from the original. And the main thing here, like everything I do, I've had fun, which yeah, so I love how he's come out, and the fact is I probably will end up buying the expansion pack, because I won't be able to resist it for too long. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave those lovely comments down below, and yeah, I will see you all in the very next one. Take care, bye for now.